Good morning. It's Wednesday the 26th of May 2021. It's no good telling you about the weather because it's more or less exactly the same as yesterday, so anything can happen, we've got no idea. It's no good banging on about that. I had a message from a new friend in Australia saying it's quite similar over there at the moment. It's turned dull and very windy. And very nice chap, Louis. Thanks for coming on board, Louis. I also had some other lovely people as well, far too many to mention, but it's keeping me busy, it's keeping me occupied, and talking to all these people, you know, chatting with all these people, it's been wonderful. So my plan today, quite easy really. This stretch here is about 20, maybe 22 miles long to walk from Newton Stewart right down to Wigtown, and the sort of further on than Wigtown village or town to actually get to the coast. And I know there's a campsite there, so I'm quite keen to see if I can get booked onto that. I'm ready for a campsite, charge my batteries up, and a bit of a tidy up. I need water, lots of it, all that kind of thing. And so I'm making it quite easy this morning. I've made a note of all the buses on my little pad that's in here now. I won't be making that mistake again. And as it happens, the bus is from Wigtown, not to be mistaken with Wigtown in Cumbria, because when I first put my into the internet bus from Newton Stewart to Wigtown, it was going to take me about 4 hours, and then I realised it was the one in Cumbria. So it's definitely Wigtown. The sky is just full of cloud. There's absolutely no sign whatsoever of the sun. I've left my van on the same car park I was on yesterday. Comfortable sleep, no problem. There's a toilet right alongside. There's a Sainsbury 50 yards away, so it's perfect. But I went for a pint last night just for a change, just to get out of the van. I got the edit done and I loaded it up onto my laptop to send off to YouTube, and it was going to take about an hour and a half or something like that. So I just went for a beer, and I only had one, and I was the only person in the pub. So I had a good chat with the lady behind the bar, who was I think she was related to the pub owner. Very knowledgeable, and she lived in Wigtown, and so she told me an awful lot about it. And she told me that you're going to come across a path because it's a very dangerous road with all kinds of U-bends and what have you, and I'm on that path now. And the first thing I've come across, which is a massive bonus, is actually a seat, because yesterday when I was walking up from Wigtown, I had to walk like 7 miles non-stop before I could actually sit down and just have a rest, and that was quite exhausting, apart from the fact that I was facing what turned out to be a really strong wind in the end, and it really took it out of me. You know, walking is one thing, but when you're walking against a strong wind, it's very wearing. Shattering actually is probably a better word. So it just looks like being another one of those dull, miserable May days. But so back to what I was saying about 22 miles to Wigtown. Well, I'm not going to do that in a day, and even to Wigtown village, it's about 18 miles, so it just makes sense to sort of cut it in half rather than finishing up in the middle of nowhere thinking, oh well, I'll do 10 miles. Well, it's better to do it to the towns, because you can get a cup of tea, or you can get something to eat, and you can guarantee that the bus is going to actually stop at that particular place. And so that's my plan, and that is going to carry on, I guess, all the way up the coast of Scotland. But I'm feeling good, my legs are fine. I've only been walking maybe for about 3/4 of an hour, and I'm feeling good. It's quite cool actually, it's only about 8 degrees, but it's actually warmer out here than it was in my van. It was really cold last night, and everything, as soon as you put the kettle on and get the frying pan on and make my usual sort of 1050 calorie breakfast, which I have every single day. It looks more or less exactly the same every day. It's just basically 3 sausages, about 5 rashers of bacon, 2 eggs and some chopped tomatoes, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it goes down well. And that's my recipe for success. I insist on having a big breakfast. It's a waste of time walking on an empty stomach, believe me. I'm going to give my feet another pamper tonight and bathe them in hot water and with some Listerine in it, which is a great top tip, I've told you before. It brings them up like brand new, gets rid of all the bits in your toenails, and if you're going to clip your toenails, because they've just been in water for about half an hour, they're very easy. So with all of that, I'll be on my way. And I know I mentioned Ralph too, and a lot of people thinking, who's this Ralph character that you keep talking about? Well, he's a Welshman, and he walked with me on maybe 20 days or different days all over the country. In 2018 and 19 we walked along the Cornwall coast up towards Plymouth, and then later we walked the White Cliffs of Dover, and then later than that we walked the Minehead to Ilfracombe on the southwest coastal path in Devon, and he came up to Scotland on a couple of occasions, and we walked up around Aberdeen and Fraserburgh, and then he came at the end where we walked from Wick to John O'Groats, the finishing part. And I'm looking forward to getting back there actually, and I've got lots of friends up there who I speak to, especially Dave Donders, and there's also I'm trying to think, I did get mixed up with whether it was a man or a woman. It's a woman, and it's Chris, and you live up at Port Glasgow. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing you, Chris. And any friend of Ros Z. Smith in New York is a friend of mine, and his mom, the Callie, and all those people. And lovely to be in touch with you, and glad that you're watching, and thank you very much. So, if Ralph was here, he would say, in a Welsh accent, I'm not very good at a Welsh accent, he would say, "Here we go." But seeing as we're in Scotland, I'm going to stick with, "See you, Jimmy!" I've just seen an alternative route actually, which takes me off this road, but I've made the decision to stick on the road, which might seem strange to you, but all I'm going to be doing is walking along the banks of the River Cree, and it's not a very exciting river, to be honest, and plus the fact I wouldn't see anything else other than the path. It's not going to save me. It's not going to save me any miles. The road here is quite a wide road. There's not very much traffic. It's not like yesterday where I was walking on like the A75, or was it the 76? It's one or the other. And so I'd miss out on seeing all this lovely scenery it will be more or less the same scenery all of the way, whereas up here I'm on much higher ground, and I can see the sun coming up in the far distance. So I think for your benefit, and I say that with all respect, I'm going to stick with walking on the road so you can get such wonderful scenery as an example like this. It's around about 10:15 now, and I've just checked my Fitbit and I've walked 7,000 steps, which is about roughly 3.5 miles. So you could say I'm almost halfway there. This is a long straight road. It's not that busy. You've got to be careful, you know. You get fast moving traffic as always, and so you've just got to watch your step a little bit. But I've got pretty good at it now. I can read the situation a lot better, and also it's not like yesterday where it was 40-ton trucks. This is relatively light traffic with the occasional truck, but with it being such a long straight road, they've got plenty of vision and there's not many twists and turns, so it's not dangerous. I wouldn't say so anyway. But just to explain, I did prefer to come this way rather than that cycle track, because it just would have been a cycle track and nothing else, and I couldn't possibly make a 30-minute film of a cycle track going through forests and stuff like that. Be a little bit like when I was down at Newborough Beach in Anglesey, where there must have been millions and millions of pine trees, and there was a walk around it actually, and it wasn't part of the coastal path, but I didn't fancy that, so I just headed straight for the beach. Plus the fact that the forest wasn't on the coastal path anyway, so that seemed a bit of a waste of time. I forgot to mention actually, when I was talking about that pub I went into last night, the lady said, well, nobody ever comes in on a Tuesday night. So I said, well, you know, I was the only person there. She said, I said, well, why don't you close then? So she says, well, the problem if you start closing is that people will stop coming at all the times. You know, if you come in at lunchtime, there's quite a few people in, and some people did come in 6 o'clock-ish and they'd gone by 7 because I didn't get there till 8. But a chap wandered in from Leeds, and I got talking to him, and a very, very lively sort of guy, and we were reminiscing about nights out in Leeds in the early 90s when we were both like maniac clubbers, and we were talking about all the clubs we used to go to, and it did bring back some memories, you know, like Back to Basics and all of those sort of places, Vague and one or two of the typical sort of early 90s clubs, and you'd just be dancing all night, and what fantastic memories we brought back from each other. And we were talking about the Leeds-Liverpool Canal, because I walked that last year, and he was telling me quite a lot of things about Leeds and how it's changed, but he much prefers it up here, and he's got like a gardening business, a landscaping business, and he's telling me that all of his customers are English, he hasn't got any Scottish customers. They're all, and most of them are from Yorkshire. Now, isn't that strange? And he's making a living. He's doing all right, and we just had a beer and a chat. And I didn't get his name, and I didn't get the name of the landlady either. But I hope they do contact me because they're lovely people, and I might even consider going back and seeing if it's any livelier on a Wednesday night tonight. I did enjoy getting out of the van just for an hour, just going down to the pub and just having one pint. And I popped down to the co-op and bought bits and pieces that I needed for today, and it was great. Just that hour. So I'm doing fine. I'm dead happy with this, and I'll see you later. Now I was telling my people who watch me that I went to the pub last night and I was the only customer for a while, and this is Rachel, who was the barmaid. I was telling them how we had a nice chat, and then this chap from Leeds came in.
Kenny, I think he said.
Kenny.
His name was. Yep.
Yeah, and we was chatting away. Fancy you. So how many jobs have you got then?
I've got 2.
You've
This is my main job.
Right, so you're off back to the pub tonight?
No, I only do it once a week just to help out. It's my mother-in-law that runs the pub, so.
Oh, well, what a coincidence.
I know, small world.
That is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I missed the 12:15 bus. I've got to wait now till the 2 o'clock, but that gives me plenty of time for tea and all the rest of it.
And have a look round the bookshops.
Yes, what I'm going to do, yeah. You know, until I found out the times of the buses, then I could be sure I've got time for tea.
And I wander around the bookshops.
Yes, and I'll be bringing my van up here later. Nice to meet you again,
And
Rachel.
you.
Okay, what a coincidence. Oh, look at that. Oh. Well, I've been sat here in the sun for 20 minutes. How fantastic it is to actually see the sun shining, and after all that walk I didn't see the sun once. Now it's gorgeous, and my mind's just thinking, well, by the time I get back to the van, having caught the 2 o'clock bus, I'll be back for 1:15, and there should be some life in my battery now, which means I can make a much better start. I won't have to tick the engine over again, and I can get the job done. It's been a good walk, thoroughly enjoyed it, and look forward to tomorrow. I'm very impressed with this place, Wigtown. It's lovely, absolutely fantastic. It reminds me of some of the Yorkshire towns like Thirsk and Northallerton, those kind of places. But what a coincidence that I bumped into the girl who I was talking to in the pub last night, who was the barmaid, and she also has a job in this cafe that I've just been in, and that's an amazing coincidence, because I was just going to say to her, look, I want to do a bit of video work, and I'm walking Britain. She says, I know, I met you last night. And then she took her face mask off, and that was it. Rachel, they call her. What a lovely girl. And it's been a good walk and a good day, and I feel great, and I've got all my rhythm back now. I'm walking well. Got a little bit tired towards the end because it's more or less a non-stop walk, and you're still battling with traffic when you road walking. And then I've done quite a lot of video work today, but it's been a great success. So that's the end of the film, and I'll be starting off from here tomorrow, and I'll speak to you then. Bye now.